Alhamdulillah. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most gracious, the most merciful, peace and blessings be upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. My brothers and sisters, have you ever felt so broken that you did not even know how to put the pieces back together? Not the kind of sadness that passes with a good night's sleep, but the kind that sits quietly in your chest every single day, following you into your work, your conversations, your prayers, even your dreams. You smile in front of people because that is what is expected of you, but the moment you are alone, the weight returns and presses down on you again. If this is you today, I want you to know that you are not the first person to feel this way, and you will not be forgotten in this state. The Qur'an was not revealed only for moments of ease and celebration. It was revealed for exactly this moment, the moment when your heart feels shattered and you do not know where to place the pieces. Tonight, I want to walk through the Qur'an's message to you, the broken one, the tired one, the one who feels like they are barely holding on. My beloved brothers and sisters, brokenness is not new to this world, and it was not new to the righteous who came before us. The Qur'an does not hide from pain. It does not pretend that life is only sunshine and ease. It speaks directly and repeatedly about grief, about despair, about hearts that feel crushed under the weight of loss. This is one of the most beautiful and overlooked aspects of the Qur'an. It meets you exactly where you are, without judgment, without demanding that you pretend to be fine. Consider the story of Prophet Yaqub. He lost his beloved son Yusuf under devastating circumstances, and the grief consumed him so deeply that the Qur'an describes his eyes turning white from constant weeping. Even as a prophet of Allah, a man of unshakable faith, he did not hide his sorrow or force a fake smile. He told his other sons plainly that he only complains of his suffering and grief to Allah. My brothers and sisters, notice where he directed his brokenness. Not to the marketplace, not to strangers, not even fully to his own family, but directly and completely to Allah. This is the first lesson the Qur'an gives to anyone feeling broken today. You are allowed to grieve. You are allowed to feel the depth of your pain. What matters is where you take that pain. There is a profound comfort in knowing that even the prophets wept. Even the prophets felt the crushing weight of loss. And even the prophets had moments where their patience felt tested beyond what seemed bearable. If Yaqub, a man so beloved to Allah, was allowed to grieve for years over his missing son, then your own tears over your own brokenness are not a failure of your faith. They are simply proof that you are human, carrying a heart that feels deeply, exactly as Allah designed it to. The Qur'an also speaks directly to the crushing weight of anxiety and constant worry that so many broken hearts carry. Allah tells us clearly that with hardship comes ease, and remarkably, this phrase appears twice within the very same short passage. The scholars have reflected deeply on this repetition, noting that it emphasizes an incredible promise, that no matter how heavy your hardship feels right now, the ease accompanying it is not a distant possibility. It is woven directly alongside your struggle, present even now, even if your eyes cannot yet see it. My dear brothers and sisters, I want you to sit with that promise for a moment. Your hardship today is not separate from your ease tomorrow. They are connected, intertwined, moving together even in this very moment of your pain. The heaviness you feel right now is not evidence that Allah has abandoned His promise. It is simply evidence that you have not yet reached the part of the story where the ease reveals itself. The Qur'an also addresses the loneliness that so often accompanies a broken heart, the feeling that nobody truly understands what you are going through, that even those closest to you cannot fully grasp the depth of your pain. Allah reminds us in the Qur'an that He is closer to us than our jugular vein. Reflect on the intimacy of that description, not a distant observer watching from far away, but a closeness nearer than the very blood flowing through your own body. When you feel that no human being on earth can understand your brokenness, remember that the one who created your heart understands every single fracture within it, understands the exact source of your pain, and understands precisely what you need, even before you find the words to ask for it. There is also a beautiful verse that speaks directly to hearts that feel restless and disturbed. Allah tells us that it is in the remembrance of Allah that hearts find rest. Notice the specific wording here. Not distraction, not entertainment, not even simply the passing of time. Rest is found specifically in remembrance. This tells us something profound about the nature of a broken heart. It cannot be healed by ignoring the pain or drowning it in noise. It can only find genuine rest by turning toward the one who created it in the first place. My beloved brothers and sisters, so many of us try to heal our brokenness in places that were never designed to hold that kind of weight. We seek healing in relationships that cannot bear the responsibility of fixing us. We seek healing in achievements and material success, only to find the emptiness returning the moment the excitement fades. We seek healing in distraction, scrolling through our phones late into the night, numbing the pain rather than addressing it. But the Qur'an gently redirects us again and again to the only true source of rest, the remembrance of Allah. The Qur'an also gives us permission to be honest about our weakness, something so many of us struggle with in a world that constantly demands strength and composure. Prophet Ayub, tested with illness and loss beyond what most of us could imagine, called out to Allah saying that adversity has touched him, and indeed, Allah is the most merciful of the merciful. Notice how simply and honestly he expressed his pain. He did not perform strength he did not feel. He did not pretend everything was fine. He simply told Allah the truth of his condition and trusted completely in His mercy. This is a powerful lesson for anyone feeling broken today. You do not need to perform wellness in front of your Creator. You are permitted, even encouraged, to bring Him your raw and honest brokenness exactly as it is. There is also a deep wisdom in how Allah responded to Ayub's honest cry. He did not simply remove the trial instantly without reason. He restored him, doubling his blessings, and made his story an eternal example of patience for every generation that would follow. My brothers and sisters, your current brokenness, if you bring it honestly before Allah with patience and sincerity, may very well become a story of restoration that others draw strength from one day, just as we draw strength from the story of Ayub today. The Qur'an also reminds us that Allah does not burden a soul beyond what it can bear. This verse is often quoted, sometimes casually, but I want us to reflect on its true depth tonight. This is not simply a comforting phrase meant to minimize your pain. It is a direct promise from your Creator that He has measured your capacity perfectly before allowing this trial to reach you. Whatever brokenness you are carrying today, however impossible it feels, Allah has already determined, with perfect knowledge of your heart, that you are capable of carrying it, even if you cannot yet see how. This does not mean the pain will not hurt. It does not mean you will not cry, or feel exhausted, or wonder how you will make it through another day. It simply means that the one who allowed this trial into your life has already accounted for your limits, your strength, and your ability to endure, with a precision no human being could ever calculate about themselves. Trust that measurement, even when your own perception of your strength feels completely depleted. My beloved brothers and sisters, the Qur'an also speaks to those who feel that their prayers go unanswered while they remain broken. Allah tells us to call upon Him and He will respond. This is a direct promise, not a vague suggestion. But we must also remember, as we have reflected on before, that a response does not always arrive in the form or the timing we expect. Sometimes the response to your broken heart is not the immediate removal of your pain, but the strength to endure it with grace. Sometimes it is a person placed unexpectedly in your path who reminds you that you are not alone. Sometimes it is a moment of unexplainable peace that settles into your chest, despite your circumstances remaining unchanged. Do not measure Allah's response only by the disappearance of your pain. Measure it also by the quiet mercy accompanying you while you carry it. There is also a profound reminder in the Qur'an regarding the temporary nature of this entire worldly life. Allah describes this world as a place of enjoyment that deceives, reminding us that our true and lasting home lies elsewhere. My brothers and sisters, I share this not to dismiss the weight of your pain today, because your pain is real and it deserves to be acknowledged fully. I share this to offer you perspective during your darkest moments. Whatever brokenness you are carrying, however permanent it feels right now, it exists within a temporary chapter of a much longer story, a story whose true and everlasting chapters have not yet even begun. The scholars often reflected on how even the deepest wounds of this world eventually heal, sometimes leaving barely a visible scar, especially when placed against the backdrop of eternity. This does not mean you should suppress your grief or rush your healing process. It simply means you are permitted to hold on to hope, even while you are still deep in your pain, because the very nature of this world guarantees that your current chapter of brokenness is not your final chapter. My dear brothers and sisters, I also want to address the shame that so often accompanies feeling broken, the quiet voice that whispers you should be stronger by now, that your faith should have protected you from ever feeling this way. This voice does not come from the Qur'an. It comes from Shaitan, whose goal is to isolate you further by convincing you that your pain is a sign of weak faith rather than simply a sign of being human. The prophets themselves wept, grieved, and cried out in pain to Allah. If men so beloved to their Creator experience deep brokenness, then your own struggle is not evidence against your faith. It is simply evidence of a living, feeling heart in the middle of a genuine trial. So what should you actually do tonight with this broken heart you are carrying? Begin by being completely honest with Allah about your condition, exactly as Yaqub and Ayub were honest before Him. Do not perform strength you do not feel. Speak your pain plainly in your dua, in your own words, in the quiet hours of the night. Turn toward the remembrance of Allah as your source of rest, rather than the countless distractions this world offers that only numb the pain temporarily without ever truly healing it. Trust that your current capacity has already been measured perfectly by the one who created you, even when you feel like you have nothing left to give. And hold on to the promise that ease is already intertwined with your hardship, even before your eyes are able to witness it. There is one more part of this message I want to leave with you, my brothers and sisters, and it concerns the company you keep during your season of brokenness. The Qur'an tells the story of the believers who fled persecution, leaving behind their homes, their wealth, and everything familiar to them, trusting that Allah would provide for them in a new land among new people. What made that difficult journey survivable was not simply their own individual strength. It was the community of believers who received them, who shared what little they had with them, who reminded them daily that they were not walking their trial alone. If you are feeling broken today, do not isolate yourself completely from those who genuinely care for your well-being. Seek out the people, even if they are few, who remind you of Allah's mercy, rather than adding to your despair. A broken heart heals slowly in isolation, but it often finds unexpected strength in the quiet company of those who simply sit with you, without demanding that you explain or justify your pain. I also want to speak to those of you who feel broken, not because of a single dramatic event, but because of the slow accumulation of many small disappointments over time, the kind of brokenness that nobody around you even notices because it did not arrive with a single obvious tragedy. This too is acknowledged within the Qur'an's wisdom. Allah describes the human being as created in a state of weakness, prone to despair when touched by hardship, yet capable of immense patience when guided by faith. This description is not meant to shame you for your struggle. It is meant to normalize it, to remind you that feeling overwhelmed by accumulated pain is part of the human condition Allah Himself acknowledged when describing our creation. You are not uniquely weak. You are simply human, exactly as your Creator designed you to be, complete with both fragility and the capacity for immense resilience when you turn toward Him. Reflect also on how the Qur'an repeatedly pairs patience with prayer as the two tools given to the believer for facing hardship. Allah tells us to seek help through patience and prayer, and reminds us that this is indeed difficult except for the humbly submissive. Notice that this verse does not promise the difficulty will disappear the moment you turn to patience and prayer. It acknowledges directly that the process remains difficult. But it also tells us that those who submit humbly to Allah find within these two tools the strength to endure what would otherwise feel impossible to carry alone. Your patience is not weakness. It is an active form of worship, chosen deliberately in the face of pain that could just as easily push you toward bitterness or despair. My beloved brothers and sisters, I also want you to consider the immense reward promised to those who remain patient through their trials, a reward the Qur'an describes as being given without measure. Unlike other deeds that are rewarded according to a specific measured scale, patience is singled out for reward beyond calculation. This tells us something remarkable about how highly Allah values the quiet, often invisible struggle of simply holding on, of getting through another day without abandoning your faith, without turning to harmful distractions, without giving up on the mercy of your Lord. Your brokenness, endured with patience and turned honestly toward Allah, is not a wasted or shameful season. It is being recorded and rewarded in a manner that exceeds ordinary measurement. As we come to the end of this reminder, I want you to know that your brokenness today does not define the rest of your story. The Qur'an was revealed for hearts exactly like yours, tired hearts, grieving hearts, hearts that feel like they are barely holding together. Allah has not forgotten you in this state. He sees every tear you have shed in silence. He hears every whispered dua you have made when no one else was watching. And He is fully capable of restoring what feels irreparably broken, in ways and timing that only His perfect wisdom could design. May Allah mend every broken piece of your heart tonight. May He grant you the honesty to bring your pain before Him without shame, and the patience to trust His timing even when healing feels distant. May He surround you with people who remind you of His mercy, and may He fill your heart with the same rest that only His remembrance can provide. If this reminder reached even a small piece of your broken heart tonight, do not scroll away in silence. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and send it to someone who feels like they are barely holding on right now. Comment below and let me know, what is the brokenness you are quietly carrying today? I want to make dua for every single one of you tonight.